About to retire? You've got to change your thinking when it comes to your investments. I'm telling you, I'm begging you, I'm begging you. Talked to a lady today, and she had everything, about 500,000 in the TSP, the G fund, and she goes, "Oh, I know you're going to yell at me for being the G fund." I was like, "Why?" She's 65. She's got just a little bit of debt, nominal debt, and she's going to sell her house and downsize. And I was like, "Why? Why would I yell at you? The G fund." Then I got his email from Jill today, which was it was actually a pretty good article by this guy over at, let's see if I can't find it. Let's see, hold on, right here from Morningstar. It was on Morningstar. Are long bonds still for fools? Reevaluating the prospects for 30-year treasuries. And it was written by a guy who said long bonds, long U.S. government bonds. Who is this guy? John Rakenthaler. I think I did a video on him a while back, probably a year or so ago. He said on April 23rd, 2020, long bonds are for fools. And he since pat himself on the back a little bit, and now he's saying maybe not so much. But he's missing the boat here. He's using his whole premise is that. Well, let me just I'll cut to the chase here. So basically, he says he's looking at when yields are at the level that he's using 10-year treasuries, which was odd, but whatever. He said when yields were at this level previously. We had 4 different times. One time we broke even, one time we made money, one time we lost money, and another time we broke even. So, of the 3 of the 4 times, we didn't lose money, and one time we just lost a little bit, not much. And I completely agree with that assumption. He's like, yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you didn't lose any money. It did basically, you didn't make it, but you didn't lose any, which I like. I can't remember if he's using that. Net of inflation, I don't know. I think he is using net of inflation. Yeah, real returns. So he's talking about real returns, which is net of inflation. So the only one time when yields were this low did we lose money, which is in basically 43, right? And even then you only lost 2% net of inflation. Now it's just not that big of a deal. But even that, he's still missing the point because, hey, who cares? I mean, when yields were this low, I'm more worried about when inflation was the scenario we're looking at, not when low yields at 3%. That's an odd thing. But anyway, I want to show you here too. So then he says, however, here's what the equities did during these times. All right, so you can see the red, the equities dwarfed from the bonds, dwarfed the bonds. And his argument is that equities have just destroyed bonds in these 4 instances. And I think he's missed the boat. He's looking at when yields were I don't want to say this low because right now they're this high. You know what I'm saying? So he's saying when yields were 3%, this is what bonds did in relative to equities. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for no sir. Hey, come here. I'm looking for. Hold on a second. Let me get the dog. By the way, this is how we get the dog. Watch. Oh, good boy. All right, I'm doing a vid right now, Coach, so be careful. All right, so anyway, I'm sitting there thinking, I get what he's saying, that stocks have smoked the bonds in those 4 other instances, and I get what he's saying about bonds. You didn't get killed ever, and I like that. And I'm very appreciative of the fact he's saying you didn't get killed in bonds, even net of inflation, because no one else says that other than this guy. But that's not the point. Who gives a rat's behind, like this lady I was talking to today, about that? Who cares? The stocks are in the red, the bonds are in blue. Who cares what the stocks do? Because the correlator of the stocks doing that are also times where the stocks get hammered. 73, 74, 77. 1927, 8, 9. I can't remember. I think 27 was the last of the up. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. And I think that was it. And then 37 or something like that. 2000, 2001. 2007, 8, and 9. I mean, you see what I'm saying? 2022, Q4 2018. I mean, who gives a rat's behind what the stocks do for your 10-year growth if you're retired? Right now, we got to play defense. You got to protect. You got to protect your end zone. You can't be getting sacked in the end zone in retirement, man. So the lady I'm talking to today, 65 years old, she's single, and she's like, "You're going to kill me because I'm in the G fund?" I said, no. If the G fund can make it work, which it absolutely could because she doesn't spend that much money, shocking, then why do you need C fund? You don't need the C fund. Now, if you want to have it, you can. She had no kids. Yeah, I'd be like, well, who cares? Who gives a rat's behind? Protect. I'd stop making the comparison. The fault. And this is what the Rob Berger guy does wrong. He says, "Oh man, 60. What do you say? The bucket strategy leaves money on the table." I'm like, yes, if we're trying to accumulate, it does or has. I don't know if it will. We have no idea. But the biggest risk you face is the down market. Now, it's less of a risk now because the market is down 20%, but still it's there. Just because it's down 20% doesn't mean it can't go down another 20 or even 40%, for heaven's sake. But I'm sitting there thinking, I'm 65 years old. I'm not going back to work. This lady, has some health scares, and I'm telling her, just freaking hang it up, dude. Hang it up. You're done. Be, just like her brother. Her brother said, just sell your house and move, and be happy with the time that you have left, because she suffered a couple of pretty big debilitating fights with cancer, and that hurts you. That can wear on a woman's or a man's body. Probably not going to live till she's 90. You know what I'm saying? So she didn't have that much time left, dudes. G Fund's perfect. Defense. No reason to sweat yourself, scare yourself to death with a C Fund. Going up and down with all kinds of stuff. And then if you look at inflationary times, stocks, everyone thinks stocks are a hedge against inflation. I say, show me the evidence. They're a hedge against low inflation, low to moderate inflation, but they're not a hedge against high inflation, as we've seen from 66 to 82. They're just not. So bonds did better than stocks in 66 to 76. I can't remember if bonds did better than stocks from 66 to 82. I just don't know. I have to do another video. I've done video and I just can't remember what I said. But I just did a video earlier this morning. Bonds did better than stocks, 66 to 76. That's a fact. Take that to Fort Knox and return it for gold, because you can, because that's a fact. All right? Bonds did better than stocks during the deflationary times of the 30s. Did bonds do better than stocks during low inflation? No. The low inflation times, what this guy said, this 4 times. Bonds held their own, 3 of them. And the one they lost money, they just didn't lose that much. It was 2%. And I don't think it was 2% a year. Let's actually see. Maybe it was 2% a year. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It was 2% a year. Yeah, 10-year return. It doesn't say annualized. Yeah, so it lost 2% net of inflation. Wow, that's the worst I ever had when bond yields were like this. 10 years. I'd love to see a 10-year time frame in bonds that did worse than that. Was it 5% at most? You know what I'm saying? You can rest easily at night knowing the worst you've ever done in bonds was, I'm literally just throwing out there 5%. I don't even know that to be true over a 10-year time frame. The only reason you want accumulation is because you need it for whatever reason, or you want to leave a legacy. And if you really want to leave a legacy, and if you can, just buy some life insurance, dudes. Anyway, please change your thoughts. It's not about accumulating. Decumulating, I get it. That's a counter to accumulating, but it's about protecting. You can't get sacked in the end zone. Even if you're only getting 3 yards in a cloud of dust and you have to freaking 3 and out every single 4 yard, every single downs that you get, you're 3 and out, 3 out and punt, 3 and out and punt, 3 and out and punt. As long as you're not getting sacked in the end zone or throwing a pick 6, who cares, man? You know what I'm saying? Every 4 down series, just retain the ball and punt it away. That's the best form of defense when you're retired. If you can. I'm not saying I don't know what your circumstances. You might not be able to. You might need growth. But if you don't need growth, like the lady I was talking to today, who gives a rat's behind? All right, love your thoughts. We'll see you.